let's demonstrate making our cheesy corn bites today. We want to make sure we practice mise en place and get all our ingredients out first. So we have ready for us our 8 ounces of cream cheese at room temperature, softened. You can use the microwave if you need to in a microwave safe dish or bowl. We need 1 cup of shredded pepper jack cheese today. So we'll get out our shredded pepper jack cheese and our 1 cup dry measuring cup. Shake that in there. Keep our hands out of the measuring cup. Using up any open packages first before opening new ones. Our directions call for a shredded pepper jack. Today I've substituted in a 3 cheese Mexican blend. We'll return this to our refrigerator right away. We don't want to abuse it with time and temperature. Our 1 cup of cheese ready. A medium mixing bowl. Our softened cream cheese into our medium mixing bowl. Working through our ingredients, everything we need. We need 1 egg, so we'll get out our 1 egg, taking care not to break it into our ingredient bowl, into a separate cup or dish so that you know you don't have any shells or a bad egg. Everything looks good, so it can go in. Our next ingredient, 1/2 cup of frozen corn kernels. You could use canned if you wanted to, just make sure you dry it. Get those right back into the freezer. And then we need some salt. All right, so an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. You could use a nice little kosher salt. I have here my 1/4 measuring cup, so I'm just measuring about half of it. So that half of a 1/4 is an 1/8. So I have that ready. I'm going to need my tortilla chips. So we're going to get out our jelly roll pans or some baking sheets. Cover it with maybe some parchment paper, or just leave it as it is. If you clean them off right away when they're warm, they'll clean off real quick and nice. Setting them up in 2 batches is always very helpful. You can cook your first batch for that 15 minutes in your 350 degree oven that you should have. Go ahead and get preheated. Then you can pull the first batch out and put them on a plate. Put the next batch in, and as everyone's enjoying the first set, the next one's getting ready, and everything that gets served is nice and warm and fun. You can also cook them all at the same time if everyone's just going to devour it, right? So we have these out and ready. So what do I have about? Just do a rough count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, a little over 48. So when we're done, we'll just take away anything we don't need. We got those ready. Next on our mise en place, we're asked for some chopped chives or cilantro. So I have both available for demonstration today because both of them are really awesome in this flavor profile today. So you can choose either one. Here we have our cilantro. You get them in the little bundle. And I have already taken mine out and washed it and dried it in a salad spinner, a lettuce spinner. If you want to look that up, you can. If you just wash them gently in cool running water and then place them on a paper towel and gently pull together the towel to dry them up, that's another way to do it. So you'll get your cilantro. You want enough to just spread out over both of those baking sheets. So I'm just going to grab mine and pull it together here. I like to pull it together by the stem so that when I pull the little leaves off, it's a lot faster. So it's not such a long, tedious process. the rest of this aside for now. And from our previous demonstration, I have some of this parsley prepared. So how are we going to work on this, right? So we have our stems all lined up in our clean hands that we've washed. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pull off this top chunk, okay? All these leaves up here are fine. Any huge stems you see, you could go ahead and grab a few of them, but you don't need to be too putsy with it. We just want to get most of the stem. The stem can be a little bitter, so that's why we're getting rid of it. There, and then we just clean up the rest, wasting as little as possible. Kind of fanning through that and getting it. Then you can just put that in your compost bin, the garbage, something like that. You don't need to put it down the drain or anything like that. The wastewater treatment plant doesn't need to deal with that. All right, so I have my nice little pile. Finding a few more big guys I don't want in there. And this is where we get to do our herb cut. So we'll go ahead and properly grip our knife by taking our hand and gripping it around the handle with just 3 fingers, close up to the bolster here. And then you're going to take your pointer finger and set it right here on the bolster and sturdy it with your thumb. So you have a nice grip here. Your wrist is in a nice position to do its work. It can work nice and straight. And again, we're not going to be using our bicep to smash down. We're going to be moving in more a back and forth saw motion. Watch me here, see how it kind of goes across. So this is our motion, so that our blade is doing the work and bruising our leaves less, all right? So we'll gather that together. Our guiding hand is going to just feed it in. Our guiding hand is just going to feed it in, all right? So we just are going to go ahead and draw our elbow back and across, and back and across, back and across, all right? Just back and across. So those first cuts we're working through here, and our guiding hand is staying back, back and across. You don't have to be fast right now, all right? Bring it back together here. Back and across. We're not pushing down. We're letting our blade do the work. All right. Now, you can go ahead and anchor the tip of your blade to your cutting board. Place your hand on the spine. And here too, we can go ahead and back our hand up onto the handle and just work in a back and forth radius motion. We've done a nice job of cutting things up already. And this is just a little finish. Just making things a little smaller that we might have missed, all right? And that's it. All right, we'll go ahead and work with that. And instead of using our blade to pick this up and move it into a container, we're going to set our blade aside at this part, at this juncture, okay? And we're gonna take something like this. This is a dough cutter. The metal ones are called bench scrapers. And you can just go ahead and scoop along and pick everything up and move it into your container. And look, it gets everything off the cutting board nicely. And now I've protected my knife. I haven't drug it across my cutting board and dulled it a little bit. I'm not putting my hand on my blade and maybe getting bumped or hurt. Okay? So now we need to just grab a clean towel and reset our cutting board. So you'll just go to your sink, get yourself a nice, clean, fresh towel, and first things first, run your knife under the sink, cold running water, and the spine of your blade towards your palm, never the cutting edge, and just give that a good clean wipe. Wipe it up. Wash it with soap and water and return it to its knife block. All right. Cilantro will give you a little staining, no biggie. All right, let's work on our recipe. Calls for a little bit of chopped chives. You can substitute green onions for chopped chives. Make sure that when you get ready to cut this, that you wash it first, just like your cilantro. If the package does not say washed, it is not washed, and you're going to want to do so. Then we're going to go ahead and place our product. Kind of notice how it's lined up from corner to corner here, because we're naturally, see how we naturally just kind of work in this direction? We don't have to work straight up and down on our cutting board and turn our bodies in weird ways. So go ahead and place your item that's been washed here. Remember our proper grip. 3 fingers, pointer finger is up here, stabilized, and I work like in this motion, no more pushing down. I got my guiding hand, holding this. I don't have to get up really close right now, and because I'm right up over the top of this and I can see straight down the spine of my blade, I know exactly what my cut is going to do. If I'm standing on too far away, I can't see at all. So then my elbow draws back, my knife draws forward, and makes a nice, beautiful, clean cut. And now this is going to be just a garnish. So before we just start hacking away, let's stop and think about what's going to happen. I'm going to sprinkle this all over the top of my dish. So I want the onion pieces to be small. I want them to be a delightful surprise and garnish instead of an assault of onion. So I'm going to cut them small. All right. Guiding hand here. It doesn't need to be close right now. It can be back here. My fingernails are tucked back, but I'm not pressing so hard on this green onion that I'm making claw marks, okay? Get your claws in. So we're just holding it and stabilizing it gently because we're not using strength. We're just using our knife, so we're just stabilizing. I'm up on top, and I'm making a small, tiny cut. Would it be funner if I said small, tiny incision? So tiny little cuts. Notice there's not loud mouth noises. The cuts happen because of the pass of my blade, not because of my strength. My guiding hand is back there just pushing things along and stabilizing. And as I use this as a garnish, because it's just a garnish, I'm going to stop when the onion comes to one piece and isn't all green anymore. If I was cutting this onion for something other than a garnish, like a soup or a saute of some kind, I would continue down this green onion. So now I'm going to stop here. But if I was making this for a different, like an actual recipe, like a saute, like I said, I would continue all the way down until about here, and then I would stop. I'd probably save this for some other use. But otherwise, so you could continue going all the way to there if you wanted. All right, we get rid of our trash. We don't want that in there. We get ourselves something to hold things with. And now we have completed mise en place. We have our we have our oven preheated. There we go, you can see it better now. We have our oven preheated. We have all our garnishes set and ready on the table, right? So that's ready for us. Hold those in the fridge for good measure if we need to. We don't need our cutting board anymore or our measuring spoon, so we can set that off to the dish room into the sink. We want to make sure we take our chef knife and hand wash that and return it to its block, right? So take it to the sink, wash it up. All right, so my knife is clean. I can take away my stabilizing mat. You can use a paper towel or a washcloth for yours. And we move. Mise en place is great because we can just start moving, right? Now our directions say to mix together the first 5 ingredients. So we're doing so. And we're going to make sure we mix it until everything looks like this whole thing looks like its own new product. The cream cheese in here is going to provide awesome creamy flavor. The egg in here is going to create lift. It's going to leaven this and lift it up, make a little puff. The corn in this is going to provide texture and sweetness. The cheese in here is going to provide also just that cheesy creaminess. And the salt is going to elevate and amplify the flavors. Now, in here in mixing, you will notice and you will see you won't get it to look creamy and combined like this if you don't let your cream cheese get soft enough. So use the microwave to make sure you soften it if you don't have it at room temperature, because otherwise the cream cheese will be all clumpy, and you don't want that. You want it to be all smooth in here, okay? So go ahead and mix it until it's well combined and its own new product. And then you can decide based on what you have in your kitchen and in your house what kind of scoops you're going to use, right? Are you going to use 2 spoons and pick them up and put them on the trays like that? Kind of like, you know, cookie style. So we could do that. We could take small amounts and just push it off on the spoons. Or you might have different tools in your house. And you may use something like a portion scoop, right? And just because it's a portion scoop doesn't mean you have to fill it full. You know, that just doesn't eliminate it as an option. You could just take a little scoop, right? And it could just be a tool to make things go faster for you. So then I could do that and then just stabilize the little chip with my hand and just control the size of what I scoop, right? And I could work through it like that. I could use my equipment and hand tools in my kitchen to make this job go better. Using all the things in your tool belt kind of makes cooking a little less tedious. So there's options for you there. And based on how little or how much you put in each chip is going to determine how far you go to get to that yield, that amount it produces of 48 chips. So we'll work through, we'll fill up a whole tray and we'll pop it in the oven for 15 minutes. And while that is working in the oven, we'll fill our second tray in preparation for that first batch getting all devoured. So this would be an item that's best served hot out of the oven. Not really a, prepare it hours in advance kind of dish. All right, I'm going to take these 2 away, and I'm going to go ahead and pop them into just a conventional style oven with still air at that 350 degrees. For the 15 minutes. So we'll set our timer. Whatever kind you have at home. And so at around the 12-minute mark, you'll start to see them at least starting to puff up and look like they're getting done. At that 13.5-minute mark, you'll see them start to just get a little bit more golden and poof up even more, and you'll be ready to pull them right at that 15-minute mark. Any further than that, they tend to get just a little over brown. I wouldn't say they're destroyed, but you'll want to at least get them out you don't want to cook them much further than the 15 minutes. I'll get this second tray prepared and we'll take a look at our first batch when they come out of the oven. So our timer is about to go off, our 15 minutes have passed, and we're going to check in with our oven here. We have our first batch down below. Looking gorgeous. So we'll get the camera on that. Our second batch is in here going. That'll be done in 4 minutes from now. So I'll adjust my timer accordingly. Now we'll go ahead and get an eye on our appetizer while I get our timer set. With the timer set, we want to remember a couple of different things. Remember that this pan is hot still. So if you're going to serve it straight onto a table, make sure you put a hot pad underneath of it. And if you're going to be serving it onto another plate or something, make sure you grab your jelly pan with a hot pad, and then something to pick it up with, tongs or a turner spatula. So we'll get our hot pad out, and you could, like I said, just garnish everything right on here. Take a peek at that with your clean washed hands. You'll go ahead and sprinkle cilantro, and if you get really close, you'll get big clumps. So get up high and sprinkle it around for your garnish. You want your green onions on in there. So again, get up high and sprinkle it on. So you could send it out and set it on just a hot pad like this, or you can go ahead and plate it up. So you can use a turner spatula and get out a plate and send it out like that. Ooh. So if you send it out like that, go ahead and grab and garnish everything so your guests get some garnish on everything. And the green onions add some great flavor. There you go. You got your cheesy corn bites, guys.